Hello and happy Thursday. Well, happy Friday if I don't get this video out until tomorrow. I'm nearing the end of my workday and I thought, gosh, I really got to get the video done and yet I might not get it loaded and sent out to you in time for you to see it on Thursday. But in fact, this is in fact wine bar day. This is when we are launching the brand new menu. And this is probably the most formative day of our week. Thursday is in retail, there's an old adage in retail: if you're not ready for the weekend by Thursday, then screw it. In other words, of course, the weekend is when retail gets its little hit, and you got to be ready. You have to be prepared in all ways. Everything's set up. So, hence this video. That's why we do them on Thursdays, and hopefully get them to you on Thursdays. And of course, I'm dressed like this to remind me to tell you first about how I feel like the year's flying by. And of course, the older you get, the more you feel like that, right? Just like time whizzes by and you have this like uncanny, like you've got this quick look at an invoice or the calendar or anywhere you see a date and you say, holy crap, it's already September 30th? Where's the year going? I just feel like the year and time is flying by so fast, I have to dress a little more aerodynamically, so that's the joke. Actually, I'm riding my bike to work a lot lately because I totaled a deer and totaled my car at the same time on the way home from work. And so, no car, bike, but I was just being silly and saying time is flying. Time is flying to the extent that we're doing an event upstairs, one of our sit-down tasting events. On the order of like every 2 weeks, and we've done France and Spain and Italy and other themes that might be varietally oriented, Washington State and other good things. And I thought, well, we are pretty sure we have Brian Talley coming here later in October, but what can I do 2 weeks from now in the meantime? What can I do that we haven't done lately? When we restarted doing events up here, as the pandemic thing started to ease up, we felt good enough about having 24 of you upstairs, seated kind of separately and thoughtfully. We first did an event that was like, the best wines in the store. Let's just bring up the best wines in the store and have a nice celebration of the fact that the wine steward is still here thanks to you, and we're gonna like enjoy great wines from all over the place together. Well, that was a whole quarter ago, so let's revive that, having not done it in a while. Let's do an event 2 weeks from now. It'll be on Tuesday, I can't see the menu from here, or calendar. It's too far away for these eyes. But we are going to do, 2 weeks from now, an event that is basically the 10 best wines of Q3, quarter three, perhaps plus one sake, because I tasted some sakes yesterday that blew my mind, that were not typical Japanese restaurant style bottom rung sakes. They were one level up at least. Very, very good, thought-provoking. So how about the 10 best wines I've had in the last 3 months? I'm gonna utilize this. I'm gonna get into my notebook. This tasting book represents, at this point, about 6 months worth of tasting. I'm gonna go back 3 months and peruse and read my shorthand and my little symbology that only I understand and see what was really ringing my bell. And now a lot of those wines have in fact arrived on the shelf. They've already been here. They've already been in events. They've already been represented down there. You've heard about them in videos and such, but some of these have not seen the light of day. They've been kind of waiting for this event. I can promise you that all 10 of the wines that we'll be opening at this best 10 wines of the third quarter are newbies. They'll be new to you. Maybe a couple of them have sat on the shelf down there unnoticed gathering dust, but most will be brand new. You who attend will be my excuse for bringing them in for Q4, for the final most important quarter of the retail year. So while I don't have a more glamorous title for this event, I can tell you that everything is going to be delicious, priced between 30 and let's say 80 or 90 bucks. So in other words, good juice, really good juice, and thoughtfully chosen. Hopefully this palate still works. This old guy is still, at least the nose and mouth are still working. I'm gonna make sure by having a little cava right in front of you. Oh yeah, that's working. So be looking for that event, okay? Best 10 best wines of the last, of quarter number 3 of 2021. Lots of numbers, but the wine will be better than a number. It'll be freaking delicious, I promise. So let's do that together. 24 of you, that's all we can have. 24. That's it, that's all. All right, no more. All right, so there's that topic. Now, what's right here up in front of me is yet another reminder. I work with props so I can remember what to tell you this week, and this prop represents a label, a wine label that has adorned 3 different vintages of wine that we have made or had made or cooperated with making for this store, exclusive to our store. This is Domaine des Plus de Vie. It's our fanciful name. They always say in wine label design, keep the name pronounceable, keep the label simple, and we didn't either. I mean, I just, like, I went totally against my own mantra there, but I wanted a flamboyantly Rhone-looking label. I wanted it to sound kind of French, and here we have a French-looking wine from here. In this case, it was from the Livermore Valley, and our next iteration, Plus de Vie, Domaine des Plus de Vie, number 4, is coming entirely from here. This is a very, very old vine, almost derelict vineyard up in Oakley. It's really cool. If you can see it well enough, you can see that there are ancient vines, and the backdrop is very modern looking houses, and that's the really weird irony of Oakley wine country. But the cool thing is some of the oldest vines in California, right up north of us in Contra Costa County, about a half an hour's drive away up Vasco Road. These are old Carignan vines right here. We are making, having made for us, but we are calling the shots on the recipe, a Carignan and Mourvedre blend from this vineyard and one vineyard across the road from it. These vines are older than 100 years, and they are own-rooted, meaning they never had to be grafted onto other rootstock to prevent phylloxera from getting to them. That root louse called phylloxera cannot abide sandy soils, and that's what's abundant here in Oakley and the Delta. And Carignan and Mourvedre, or they call it Mataro locally, wonderful stuff. It's going to be a marvelous blend. We will have the option of pre-bottling, accessing my friend Adam's other barrels of Grenache and Syrah, just for tweaking purposes in case the wine wants it. But the base here, the base is this like very soulful looking wine place. I get very, very excited about old vines. Other people get excited about other things. Nothing excites me more, nearly nothing, than an ancient grapevine, and my thinking of the possibilities, what that might do as an old veteran still putting out a crop, smaller and smaller every year, and yet more and more interesting and concentrated in flavor and identity every year. So this is, this time around, coming from here, and you can't buy it yet. Yes, you can. You can support this venture, but you can't have any yet. So in other words, we're selling this as futures. This is my second advertisement for this particular Plus de Vie, because it's 2021. It's the vintage. This just stopped fermenting and is now heading for barrels, even as we speak. I just saw a video about how I asked Adam, like, my friend is making this under bond so we can legally sell it. Like I said, we're calling the shots. He and I are cooperating on its making, but he just sent me a video of it going to barrel as of today. So fermentation is done. Grape juice has become wine, and it's heading for barrel, not to be oaked up, but it's going to oversized barrel for a little bit of semi-oxidative environment. It's not going to stainless steel tanks, otherwise there wouldn't be any breathing through the pores. This larger sized barrel thing is a typical Rhone Valley practice, and as you can see, we're trying to be as Rhone-ish as possible with this wine. So buy 6 bottles, buy a 6-bottle batch at a much lower price than it will cost when it's actually released a year and a half from now. Go to our website, thewinesteward.com, and get involved in this. We are making 100 cases of Domaine des Plus de Vie 2021. We're selling only 25%, in other words, 25 cases of this wine as futures in order to pay the grower and pay the winemaker ahead of time. Their bill has come due, and you will help us get this done, and also be helping yourself to a far better price. It will be delicious, I promise. We're going to do our best for you. Those of you who've had it before, can attest to that. I think this will be the most interesting and delicious one so far because of the site that we have chosen. This amazing place. Great. So we've told you about an event that's coming up. We've told you about, once again, this project that we're working on right now. The wine steward would now like to have a little food commercial, shall we? So there's goat cheese. This is beautiful goat cheese. We sell several different goat cheeses from Humboldt. Cypress Grove is the name of the actual cheesery or whatever, cheese producer. They make Humboldt Fog. That's probably the most famous creation. And this happens to be called Ms. Natural. I don't know if that's, I'm not even going to venture why it's called that. But it's beautiful goat cheese. The point is, this has been suggested by Dawn as going wonderfully on top. This is a brand new product for us. We've been selling this, and now we're selling this. We invite you to, is this clever of us? Buy not one product from us, but two. How about that? Because they go marvelously together, according to our cheesemongress, Dawn. And this is Bomba di Calabria. It's Calabrian hot pepper paste. Apparently, it's amazing. I have yet to witness it. I'm not going to do it on video. I only taste wine on video. And yet, Dawn has said, Jim, if you're plugging food this weekend, would you please talk about this brand new thing that just came in from Italy? So it's from Calabria, Italy, and apparently goes amazingly on top of this goat cheese. So please try this at home and let us know if it works. Dawn swears that it does. Let's prove her wrong. Let's prove her right. Okay? That's the food commercial. Now, as you know, we always represent what's going on to our wine bar menu on these videos. So let's do that very quickly and say that there's always a sparkling wine, yes. Well, I just got back from a wedding over the weekend. The wedding was fantastic and everybody was having so much fun that they actually forgot to do the toast. It was rather an irreverently fun, recklessly conducted affair where these two youngsters were having so much fun that they went off script and said, screw the toast. So that meant I had to bring some cava back. This is fantastic sparkling wine that I took down there, and they drank a good amount of it, but not as much as I thought they might. So here we are. We're putting it on the wine bar. Why not? We're heavy on inventory. I don't mind. This is terrific, inexpensive, and yet delicious, thought-provoking cava. I can tell you that I've had cava tasting twice as much as Masfi that says less than this. This is delicious. And if you're getting married soon or having some kind of an affair and you need sparkling wine that has character but doesn't have cost, go here. This is nice stuff. That's why I opened it. All right. As you know, we're getting into the flight thing now as we're hopefully easing into a healthier culture and society. We feel better about having more people upstairs and therefore presenting a more complete menu to you as we used to. And so, yeah, there's bubbles. And we even have port. I don't have it here. Shoot, I wanted to taste that too. But anyway, we have an LBV from Dow's LBV port, real port from Porto, Douro Valley, Portugal. So as the weather starts to turn a little bit, I think people might get in the mood, and we want to provoke a little more of an appreciation and culture for port love, where I think it's kind of fallen off a little bit. And, you know, we used to not sell all that much sparkling wine. I mean, the occasional celebratory champagne, and that was about it, maybe some Prosecco. But ever since we started to put glasses, an offering of a different sparkling wine on our menu every week, sparkling wine has taken off around here. So maybe the same thing will happen with port. I don't mean we are in the mood for drinking port every night, but when you drink an LBV, or especially a tawny port, you can come back to that bottle later on and enjoy it again. So you don't have to drink glasses of it. You can have a spot or a nip of port and then move on to the rest of your drinking night. But it's nice to have port as the nights get cold, I think. So that's on the menu, finally. Now, we have a zinger flight. Zinger meaning refreshing. Zinger meaning not everything's white. In other words, three whites or three of the wines are Italian whites. And one of them is a rosé, not from Italy, but much closer to home. So we have here a Sylvaner from an interestingly named place. This is a region called both Südtirol Eisigtaler, which sounds German, doesn't it? Because it is. And I don't pronounce it correctly, but it is. And then Alto Adige Valle Isacco. I think I said that a little more correctly. That's Italian. This is the area that used to belong to the Austro-Hungarian Republic. I don't know, probably about 100 years ago at the most. And so there's a lot of Germanic influence on this part of northern Italy. And so you got that faithfully represented in the area name. That's the name of the area. You see street signs in German and in Italian here in this northern part. Excuse me, toward the Alps, the Dolomites. Brilliant. What's unusual here is this is not for once Pinot Grigio from Alto Adige. It is, in fact, Sylvaner. Sylvaner, we don't hear a lot about it. It's kind of the workhorse grape along with Pinot Blanc of Alsace, France. And it's wonderful from Franken, Germany, where it's often represented in a boxbeutel that it's shaped like the testicles of a goat. And I just said that. But the fact is, that's the myth that this boxbeutel from Franken, Germany that holds Sylvaner is meant to represent, for some reason, I don't know, if you if you're trying to go into labor, whatever. This is Sylvaner from northern Italy, and it's not in a boxbeutel, so you can drink it without feeling squeamish. In fact, I will right now. I did not make that shit up, okay? The boxbeutel is like, yeah, genitals of a goat. Which I've never fully and thoroughly inspected. I just take their word for it. Ah, it's gorgeous. Aside from all the references, this wine smells very nice and not sweaty at all. It's, wow, tangy, like sour ball, kind of, like a sour apple. It's nice. Okay, Italian wine number one, brand new arrival. Italian wine number two on the flight is an Arnese. Arnese is the white grape, you could say, of Piemonte, Italy. In other words, we're heading west. We're still in the north, but we're heading west over to Piemonte, or Piedmont if you want to anglicize the name. This is San Silvestro Arnese. We carried it last year. Here's the brand new vintage. And we bring these things in and put them right up at the wine bar so that we can launch a wine. There's that word again, launch. To show you a wine we've just brought in, to announce this is here, it's just arrived. Let's get it to the wine bar and the shelf. If we just put it on the shelf, you might never know. So why not introduce it on the menu? Arnese, the new vintage from San Silvestro. Arnese is a cool wine. Oh, that's beautiful. I often think of chopped veggies and chopped lettuce, like cold and a little wet on a chopping block when I smell Arnese. I've never heard anybody else say that. That's my little weirdism. Very lush, as if you're eating salad with no dressing. You know, it's just like bare, clean, cold iceberg lettuce. You know, there's a little more fruit than that, but it's still that basic effect of lushness. Really lovely. That to me is perfect Arnese. That's what I want, and I want some shrimp now. I think I want shrimp. Alrighty, and now let's go south. We just did two white wines from Italy's north. Let's go down to Campania. Campania near Naples, of course. And the three main white grapes from here are Greco di Tufo and Fiano di Avellino. And Falanghina is often in the background, like the wine that's not quite as good as those other two. But this Falanghina does aspire. I am very happy with this. Meriggio, Tenuta del Meriggio. You know, you don't speak Italian, you sing Italian. And here's, it's a nice, I want to sing, but people out there on the wine bar might hear me, and we now have guests, so they'll wonder what's going on in the office. Nice spiciness to it. You know, the first Insalata Caprese I ever had, that is fantastic fully ripe tomatoes, along with burrata on top, the wonderful cheese that we sell here, and a little bit of fresh basil on top, and of course, terrific olive oil drizzled over everything. First time I ever had that experience was in this region with this kind of wine, and I'll never forget that. In fact, I want to go right home now and make one. I've still got a few beautiful tomatoes to pluck, and oh my God, this is the wine for it. Falanghina. Don't mispronounce it or you might get slapped. All right. But I said there were four wines in the Zinger flight, and this is the rosé. Look at this, it's not from Italy. Nella Terra, these are good friends of ours. I've done a little work up here. They are pals. This is the this is kind of close to my heart. And it's nice to know that these guys have gone from vines that I saw being planted about 6 years ago all the way to bottled wine now. This is a rosé of Pinot Noir from the Livermore Valley. Wait, that's not supposed to happen. In fact, I would never encourage you, if you were in the main part of the Livermore Valley, to plant Pinot Noir. Well, this is not the main part of the Livermore Valley. Did you know that that boundary line actually skirts Sunol? The hills above Sunol is where we're going here. In fact, some of these hills where these folks have a beautiful property, great place to have your daughter's wedding, by the way, Nella Terra. They can grow Pinot here because they actually have a view of the bay. And this is a totally different temperature zone, even though it can say it's Livermore Valley. That's kind of cool, right? So 100% Pinot Noir, 2 different clones thereof from Nella Terra, our good pals. Griffin showed me this a couple weeks ago, and I said, you know, we're not buying all that much rosé anymore as we're easing out. I've got a lot of rosé downstairs, and whereas it's fantastic all year long, not as many people drink it all year long, unfortunately. I think we should. But we know that this holiday called Thanksgiving is coming up, and a lot of people apply rosé to that holiday. And Thanksgiving, in fact, the dinner of Thanksgiving, with all that rich food, that whole carnival of plates on your table, actually accommodates wonderfully a richer style rosé, a rosé with a little more body to it. So not the ethereal Provence style, but just a little more fruit and mouthfeel is what's going on here in this beautiful, fresh, but richer 2020 Pinot Noir from, believe it or not, the Livermore Valley. Way up in the hills above the valley. So got to justify that, qualify that. You've heard of Tavel from the south of France. This has that amount of body, perhaps. Different set of flavors, but it's a beautiful food rosé. So we invite you to get excited about a wine from our dear friends, the B. Millers, up there at Nella Terra. 5 reds. Halloween's coming, like, gosh, 32 days away, right? And I'm getting in the mood by presenting you with a flight of dark reds, dark and scary reds. Woo-hoo-hoo. So let's go and have darkness in our glass. I don't know, I'm just making shit up as I go. But every red on this flight will not be wimpy or ethereal or distant or like you gotta go find it. No, these are in your face dark reds, and yet they're thoughtful. They are, I believe, still intellectually stimulating, but delicious too. But here we have this dark color that so many people are attracted to. Like, look at that right there. Okay, this is from Spain, from Almansa. That's in southeast Spain, near Yecla and Jumilla, down in what I call Moorish Spain. This is where the Moors hung out longer than anywhere else in Spain when they were occupying the area. This is called Laya. It's 70% Garnacha Tintorera and 30% something else. Monastrell, Moved. Garnacha Tintorera, let's go back to that. That's what makes this wine so damn freaking dark. Garnacha Tintorera sounds like, well, Grenache, right? Yeah, but it's... Tintorera means painted or tinted. This is actually 70% Alicante Boucher. Okay, that's a Spanish name for it. Alicante Boucher is one of those extremely rare red grapes that's actually red fleshed. So most grapes, red or white, when you press them, out comes white juice. But Alicante Boucher or Garnacha Tintorera, red on the inside. So this wine is red on red, really. And for its little price, it's freaking great. I mean, so many of you already know that. You've been to our bang for the buck section and been buying this already. But because we're pouring some more expensive wines in the flight this weekend and want to keep the price okay, we're introducing the flight with good, inexpensive wine. I mean, if I didn't know the price, I would bet we were tasting $20. We're not for the whole bottle, right? So, all right. There's that. That's wine number 1 in the flight. And now we're going to get gloomier and scarier by going to the Syrah grape, of which you are so afraid. Many of you are like, you don't know what to expect and kind of freaking out now. I usually put Syrah in the Pinot Noir style glass, but this time I think the whole flight does pretty darn well. I tested this before over and over again this morning. And that's why I'm so excited now. It's going to all work in the Bordeaux glass this weekend, so we don't have to shift glasses on you. This is 2016 De Tierra Syrah from Monterey. And you're just down the hill, barely, from what's called the St. Lucie Highlands. It cannot be called that because you're over the borders. It's kind of like a great Côte de Remplage that's just right over the border from Châteauneuf-du-Pape. Here you have greatness that's just doesn't qualify for the fancier name. 16 means, of course, 5 years of age on it. So this wine is getting a little grumpy. The fruit is still there, but now it's becoming a little, there's an edge of meat and date, dried dates, and earth. It's fun, it's complex, and I wouldn't drink this as a cocktail necessarily. I would have it with lamb. So if you like lamb, you will like this wine. I often connect lamb lovers to Syrah, saying it's, you know, if you like one, then you'll like them both. But like most Syrahs that I like, is aggressive and esoteric and eccentric as the nose is. The mouth is sexy and silky and rich. We call sometimes Syrah the Jaguar, whereas Petit Syrah is the monster truck, if that makes any sense to you. Just an attitude of the wine. All right, what shall we pour as wine number 3? This was a dilemma, like how to like order these wines. All right, let's go to the Napa Valley, shall we? A very familiar place. This is a producer called Laird. Laird is the home to many different wineries because they are in fact overbuilt. They did that on purpose. They built a very big winery so that about 40 other tiny wineries could inhabit their space and use their press and their crusher and all that. So they're what's known as a custom crush facility, but they have their own brand as well. So this is Laird. You would see them on the left side as you head up Highway 29, I think in the Yountville area. This is Cabernet, of course. We're in the Napa Valley, 65% Cabernet. And then the rest of it is devoted to the likes of Syrah. Yeah, Syrah with Cab, why not? The guys over at Mi Sueño did it, right? With that El Llano blend. So here's kind of an El Llano type wine. So this is Cabernet plus Syrah. I believe there's minor contributions from Merlot, Malbec, and Petit Verdot as well. But it's pleasure, it's dark pleasure, it's very recognizable. Like, oh, this smells good, I want to drink it, you know. I do, I really want to swallow that wine, but one must remain somewhat on top of things, right? This is great. This is Laird Jillian's blend. We recently gave it to our Red Collector Club. And we have some left over, so why not put it on the wine bar? All right, wine number 4 of the flight. Oh boy, this is this is fun. I might have talked about this once before, but it's certainly worthy of another push. This wine doesn't need a push. It's assertive enough. It pushes itself, at least once you look at it in a glass. We talked about dark. Here's dark for you. How about that for dark? Wow. This is from Northern Macedonia, where a certain derivation or deviation of Bulgarian, the Slavic language, is spoken. And the 2 grapes at play here are, yes, here they are. In other words, I'm cheating. Kratošija and Vranec. I think it's Vranec. It might be Vranic, but Vranec just sounds more Macedonian, doesn't it? All that is extremely unfamiliar. This color is daunting, and you're supposed to be a little bit scared. Are you scared? And yet, know that a very famous wine importer called named Eric Solomon brings this over to us. He does a lot in Spain and France, and decided that there was an opportunity also in this virtually unknown country to bring a wine from there. Well, who did he drag over into that country for winemaking expertise? None other than a guy named Philippe Cambie, a larger-than-life dude. I've watched him eat lunch. He's larger than life. I can promise you. He sat straight across from me at a restaurant in San Francisco once, and this man probably weighs 2.5 times as much as I do. And yet, or because of that, perhaps, he's a great eater and winemaker. I think sometimes people who taste things with a certain level of, at a certain rate, perhaps, they connect very well to their other job. Like, if you're making wine, then you're thinking of what you might want to eat with it tonight. At any rate, Philippe Cambie, a former rugby player, enormous dude, is brought into Northern Macedonia to make this wine for importer Eric Solomon. All of that talent, the wine choosing and the wine making, and of course the raw material of apparently a great place to make wine, has given us something that reminds me of two Italian wines. One is called Tarazzi, the other one is called Montepulciano di Abruzzo. So those are both kind of southern Italian reds that are husky and big and bulky and dark. And here you have it. When people see this on the menu, they will be befuddled, but when they taste it, they will say, holy shit. I think they'll say something like that. I'm gonna actually tape them when I pour it, but I'll see what kind of reactions we get. This is impressive wine. Just went to our world-class wine club, by the way. Well, we were out of time about 20 minutes ago. Here we still are. And I would like to tell you about one more wine, because we're gonna finish off with, once again, something familiar. We just scared you to death. And now let's bring you to Washington State for a very good Cabernet that I love to talk about. This is Chris Upchurch making LTL, meaning larger than life Cabernet. This is the second label to the more expensive Upchurch Cabernet. What's Upchurch? Upchurch is a property located on Red Mountain. The tasting room is actually there. And Chris Upchurch has been working with Red Mountain fruit for 20 or 30 years at least. And he's the founding winemaker for DeLille, and we love DeLille, we love what they do, but now he's got his own place, you know, where he has his own say, and you know, it's kind of cool. And I got to visit this place about 4 weeks ago, and I really have religion. I love what this person is doing, and the Sauvignon Blanc, not all the wines come to California yet, but we're gonna try to persuade them to get more Upchurch wines down to us. But in the meantime, we have this great wine, which Napa would sell you for about, quality-wise, $50 or $60. Here it's about 32. Regular price. Wine club members, they're gonna go under 30. Beautiful cab. It's intense, it's dark, it's mouth-filling, it's serious, and it's delicious fun. And that's what we try to do around here at the Wine Stewards. So, boy, last quarter of the year, let's celebrate the last quarter, the third quarter of wine tasting. Would you like to know what's in here? Would you like to taste the 10 best things in this book? Sign up for the event that I will put on the website either tonight or tomorrow. I think I'm gonna ride my bike home now, so it's gonna happen tomorrow, frankly. But I look forward to seeing you guys at the event. You who have an open mind, who want to taste from things from all over the place instead of just one theme. It's not just France, and not just Italy. It's all kinds of good shit that has been recorded here. And if I can read my own writing, we'll be tasting it. Thank you very much. Have a fantastic weekend. I know we went long. I'm very glad that some of you still watch this. Have a great one. See ya.